Let's now get to the top free agents on defense. Mitchell Renz, Chase Sr. ready to break it all down for you. We actually are making this video live on NFL Daily on Friday, and for those of you that didn't see it, it's maybe because you're not subscribed, and maybe it's because you don't have those notifications turned on. Bottom line is this: I don't want you guys to miss if big-time news or rumors happen. So, subscribe. Turn on those notifications. It's literally right underneath the video. It's the thing that looks like a bell. You click that, click all. That way you don't miss a thing around the latest news, rumors, or free agency updates. Richard Sherman, one of the top cornerbacks left here on the defensive side of the football. I ultimately think that the reason why he's still left here is because he thinks that he's worth a lot more than what he potentially is. I've seen reports out there that he wants 12, 13, 14 million. I'm more around the $8 million mark.
Me too, yeah, and look, don't let the age fool you because this is still a Pro Bowl, all-pro caliber guy. He was excellent for the 49ers 2 years ago, was on injured reserve last year. Richard Sherman, he's built a Hall of Fame resume, and because of that, he expects to get paid for his past work. The problem is NFL teams, they don't want to pay for past performance. They want to bet on upside. Richard Sherman, he's on the back nine of his career, but still a really good cornerback.
Malcolm Butler, one of the top cornerbacks left. He was actually released recently by the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, he had an up-and-down stint with Tennessee. I still think Malcolm Butler can come in, and as a second or third cornerback, he can be a threat on the outside. And he can lock down a number 2, number 3 wide receiver. He'll get beat occasionally. He's very inconsistent. That's why Titans fans were kind of skeptical about him. But at 31 years old, still has some gas left in the tank. Had 100 tackles last year, 14 pass breakups. Those are pretty solid numbers.
Brian Poole, also one of the top cornerbacks here left on the market. And I'll actually say probably the top coverage slot nickel corner. If you're looking for somebody that's above average against the run, but elite in coverage, Brian Poole, man, that's my guy.
More and more value for slot corners. Why is that? Because more and more offenses in the NFL, they're going with spread concepts. They're trotting out 3-4 wide receivers, sometimes 12 personnel with 2 tight end sets. Brian Poole is a guy, he can cover wide receivers, he can cover tight ends. If he needs to go to the outside, he can, but as we mentioned, better suited in the slot.
All right, so go down and let us know here, which player are you shocked hasn't signed yet? Obviously, there's a lot of talented players on the defensive side of the football, but it's been a little bit of a strange free agency period. So we are actually recording this video on Friday. Go down in the comments. Let me know, which player are you shocked hasn't signed yet? Adoree Jackson was released by, well, the Tennessee Titans, the former USC product, 25 years old, can also get it done in special teams. He's also here on our list.
Yeah, and there's that saying out there, players are free agents for a reason, because their previous team didn't want to sign them. Adoree Jackson, look, he can return punts and he can be dynamic in that regard. And he's only 25 years old, so this is actually one of my favorite targets out there on the defensive side of the football who is still available, and I still think he can put together a really solid NFL career. He's been plagued by injuries, though.
Quinton Dunbar, he actually suffered some injuries last season, was actually one of the best coverage cornerbacks in 2019. Did have a little bit of a down year, though, in 2020.
Yeah, Quinton Dunbar, he's a pretty good cornerback, still at 28 years old, so he can still give you a couple of really solid years. 5 pass breakups last year. He can fill in as a number 2, number 3 cornerback at this point of his career.
One of the older guys on our list here is Xavier Rhodes, and I absolutely mopped him up and down the floor last year. Said this guy's washed. He gave me a big old middle finger. I actually thought he had a pretty solid year last year for the Colts.
Yeah, there's that saying out there, Father Time is undefeated, but Xavier Rhodes, it seems as though this guy has been in the league for so long, and he has. I can't believe he's only 30, actually, because he feels like he's 35, and he still has some gas left in the tank.
If you're enjoying the show, and maybe it's not because of Chase or I, you see us on screen, maybe it's actually because of producer Sam behind the show. So he does a lot of stuff here at Chat Sports. He's our top producer, and without him, we wouldn't be able to make the amount of videos that we do. So all I ask you guys to do, go show him some love, go show him some support, go follow him on Twitter. It's down below. He's at Sam Brown CS. Melvin Ingram, next up here on our list in terms of top free agents on defense. Limited to just 7 games last season, but we'll ultimately see how healthy he is going forward.
Yeah, the problem with Melvin Ingram, he's 31 years old, and so he is older, but also it's the style of play in which he plays with. He's very physical. He's a bull rushing type of defensive end. So as he gets older, as he continues to get injured, and you factor in that style of play of him needing strength and physicality, that's why he's still a free agent.
Melvin Ingram, though, is a player that I do like a lot and one of the top guys out there, and we'll ultimately see what his contract value looks like at 31 years old. Jadeveon Clowney has been a very familiar face on a lot of chat sports shows, especially around free agency. He's on here yet again.
Yeah, Jadeveon Clowney has had a fascinating career because he hasn't lived up to the hype that he had coming out of South Carolina. He stole money last year from the Tennessee Titans. That's because of production. That's also because he was injured. And injuries have really taken a toll on him, and I think it's zapped him of some of his athleticism. But if you're able to get Jadeveon Clowney on a cheaper prove-it deal, and he has something to prove because he wants to make more money next year as potentially a 1 or 2 year contract guy, he can still be a game breaker.
Carlos Dunlap did a phenomenal job with the Seattle Seahawks, and he's actually going to be another player we break down here. But you're probably like, wait a minute, Seahawks, he's wearing a Bengals jersey. Cincinnati didn't use him correctly. He then goes over to Seattle, has 6 sacks, 32 tackles, finished the season pretty strong, Chase. So Carlos Dunlap, he's on this list, but he's actually not the only former Bengals player.
No, yeah, we're going to get to Geno Atkins as well because Geno Atkins, like Carlos Dunlap, yeah, both guys are over 30, but both of these players, I still think that they can be productive. Now, Geno Atkins, he only had 1 tackle, 1 quarterback hit last year, so
they didn't use him.
Yeah, right. They didn't use him at all. I don't think he is a great player anymore, but yeah, he'll be a good depth signing, and he can still be a starter at this juncture.
The top linebacker still available out there, it's KJ Wright. He played last season with the Seattle Seahawks, 31 years old, but this is a tackling machine. It's really like the first time in his career he hasn't had over 100 tackles, but KJ Wright, absolutely love this dude.
Given the style of play, this dude will punch your nose in, and he's always been available for the Seahawks defense, going all the way back to the Legion of Boom. 6 of 7 seasons, he's played 15 games or more, and he's still a really productive player. I mean, last year, 86 tackles for a Seahawks defense that was atrocious, like record-breaking bad. Yeah. He was actually one of the few bright spots on that unit.
So out of all the players that we just talked about, let's say as the edge rushers or a defensive tackle, maybe even the linebacker in KJ Wright, who do you think's the best? Now, we are filming this video on March 19th, 2021. Obviously, some stuff might change, so keep that in mind. Who's the best free agent left out there at edge, linebacker, or defensive tackle?
Struggling.
All right, let's go to Kareem Jackson now, 5'10", 183-pounder, played last season with the Denver Broncos. He was actually just recently released by Denver. They decided to allocate their money and their funds toward Justin Simmons, and I don't really blame them.
Yeah, Justin Simmons and Ronald Darby, who signed a $30 million contract. Kareem Jackson, look, he's had a long and productive career.
For sure.
A lot of these veteran options, like teams aren't just going to go after them and overspend for them early in free agency, especially when the cap is down about $16 million. He's a product of that.
Malik Hooker next up here on the list, and when he's fully healthy, you cannot deny the talent. The issue is he's coming off a torn Achilles, and I can't tell you how healthy Malik Hooker is going to be going forward.
My heart hurts. My stomach hurts at the injuries that this guy has suffered because he was a straight-up baller at Ohio State. He was part of the national championship team. He was an All-American. He was a highly touted prospect. Now, yeah, he tore his Achilles last year, and over the past few years, he's missed like 24 games. But he's only 24 years old, Mitch.
Correct.
So I think he's going to sign like a 1 or 2 year deal worth $3 to $5 million, and that has the potential to be one of the biggest steals of the 2021 free agency class if he stays healthy, but that if is capitalized.
So who's the best free agent safety left? We talked about Malik Hooker. We also threw out a name there like Anthony Harris. But again, depending on when this video happens, I think it's clearly Anthony Harris at this current juncture. If you were to tell me who I think is the best bang for your buck in terms of maybe trying to find a good steal, I do think it's a guy like Malik Hooker.
Yeah, I'm all in on Malik Hooker.